I really think that this time now could be our wake-up call. Maybe many of us have feared a time like this, and maybe deep inside of us we already knew that something was already necessary. We have lived so far in a system that kind of worked, so nobody ever, not politicians, and nobody really personally dared to touch the system, because it kind of worked, it kind of guaranteed, our way of life, and so touching it was very dangerous. What happened now? Our system came to a stop, a complete stop, most of it at least. Why? Because a virus came along and did everything we knew already that we had to do, not for the corona crisis, but for the next crisis, the big, much bigger crisis that will be coming, the global warming crisis. We all knew already that there are too many airplanes in the air, too many cruise ships out in the ocean, way too much plastic in the sea. And what have we really done? Nothing really impactful. As I said, not on a society level and not on a private level. The virus has forced us to kind of do many of these things, to do many of the things we always feared, because of losing jobs, because of losing money, because of bringing down the economy, because of losses at the stock exchange. Well, everything of that has happened in the last 2 weeks. So what if this time right now is something like a wake-up call? What if this time right now is something like a dress rehearsal, a test to see if we are ready for global warming? Yes, there are a lot of tragic things happening right now, and that's why we are reacting. I mean the whole world is reacting in that way. But on the other hand side, what I also see is, or what this crisis can also show us, that yes, we can do it. We can deal with a big crisis like that. We can get our people to stay at home. We can get all the people to wash their hands or even risk their businesses. All the small businesses that don't go to work, they are on the risk of bankruptcy. So people taking high risks in working together to get past this crisis. There's an enormous amount of solidarity going on worldwide, everywhere, where people stay at home, wash their hands, wear their masks, because usually they don't do it in the first line for themselves. Most of us do it for the others, the risk groups, trying to prevent this virus to spread. Why I think it's a rehearsal? Why I think it's something like a test? Because I think it's really important how we get out of that crisis. If the solidarity that is shown right now will also be shown and felt afterwards, with all the people who stayed at home, with all the people who risked their businesses, will there be solidarity with all of us? So that not many of us lose and a few, again, like usual, either win or stay the same? Are we solidaric with each other so that everybody pays part of the price that this crisis costs us now? And everybody helps everybody to get through it? I think we should start in thinking of, okay, the systems are down now. How do we want to rebuild the systems? Do we really want to go back to the old systems that have brought us to where we are today, all the good aspects and all the problematic aspects? Or do we already start thinking about systems that might prepare us for the future? In my mind, I have a system that supports or provides a basis for everyone in the system, a basis of either income or livelihood, a basis that enables every one of us to participate in life and to participate in measurements that we see right today. If we had, for example, something like a basic income, nobody would have to fear to risk his business, to risk his income, to risk his existence just by staying at home. We could much easier do that. Stay at home, be solidaric, be there for each other. Not, landlords, banks, this and these business groups still earn, and all the others are on the brink of bankruptcy, facing down into the abyss. No. We had a basis, every one of us, on which we could operate. And I think that we need such a basis for the future. Because what we learn right now, and I think this is really interesting because it is a first-timer, what we learn right now is that we are facing problems that have to do with the whole planet, that are also created by all of us. The virus is transferred through everyone to everyone. All of us are involved. Our interconnectedness creates this whole situation. And for the first time, we don't only create problems like that, but we also need every one of us to solve a problem like that. Interconnected problems obviously need interconnected solutions. Global problems need global solutions. You cannot fight this virus, here or there. You need to deal with it everywhere. You cannot fight global warming here or there. You need to deal with it everywhere. It doesn't help if one nation, separates their garbage, the other nation has some environmental laws. That doesn't help at all if all the others don't participate. We are facing maybe a change in our consciousness. We're widening it a little bit, broadening it. That means we are realizing that we are not separate individuals, we're not separate nations. We are interconnected individuals, we're interconnected nations. We are on one planet all together. So we need, and that's my suggestion, to think about how we want to get out of this crisis. We need ideas on how to prepare ourselves for the interconnected future. A basis that kind of guarantees us our survival, that we then have to deal with our survival on an everyday basis. Because as long as we have to deal, or many of us have to deal with their survival, they are not ready for interconnectedness because they don't have any time for that. They have to be egotistic. They have to look for their own advantage because that's what survival makes you. If we get rid of the daily need for survival and provide a basis for living together, it might be a universal basic income, it might be some guaranteed livelihood. The only criteria is it has to be for everyone on that planet. Everyone, every single person. Otherwise, if you are in and the others are out, and the others who are out will never participate. So if we have a basis for all of us, some kind of foundation, what should we really fear? We don't need to be scared anymore. We don't need to fear bankruptcy anymore. We can easily manage our businesses so they are good for all of us. Corona came and no politician so far dared to touch the airplanes. 2 weeks later, most of the airplanes were on the ground. Think if we had provided for us a foundation of security, we could start with all the measurements that we need for global warming. And one thing I'm sure, We all know that. We all know what we really needed to do here. We all know that it's already time to start. And most of us probably have some kind of feeling right now, in these times of the crisis, that yes, maybe it is time to start thinking in a new way. Maybe it is time to start acting in a new way. Because unlike with the coronavirus, you make a test and then pretty soon you get the symptoms, and pretty soon you get really bad disease if it just happens to you. But with nature and with our planet, these things take a little longer. But that does not mean that we haven't tested our planet already. That doesn't mean that we don't know already that our planet is endangered, that the patient is sick. We only don't see the symptoms as clearly because time span is much longer in nature. But by much longer, I don't mean hundreds of years. Maybe we're talking about decades right now, maybe not even. But it's something that's not happening today. So we humans, how we function, don't act today. It's like with brushing your teeth. Everybody knows it's good, but you don't see any effects when you don't do it right today. You see it in a year or in a few years. And then you wonder why you have the consequences, why you have bad teeth. It's the same with the planet. We need to act now and not wait for the consequences. With the planet, we cannot wait for the symptoms. Because once we have the symptoms to show up, once we start feeling the symptoms, it will be too late. Why? Because nature is so slow. If we start acting then, our measurements will be too slow. So maybe this is what we are learning right now. Maybe this should be the alert right now. I also think, and I think this is important right here, that in many, many ways, we are a generation, and I mean all the people that are living on this planet right now, we are a generation of pioneers. We have experienced, or I experienced, so many things that have never happened in history of humankind so far, that are completely new. So many things. All the technology that we have, all the computers that we have, the internet, the incredible interconnectedness. Yes, and the coronavirus too. And everything we do against the virus, against the pandemic. So we are pioneers in our experiences and in our actions. Pioneers always have to travel into uncharted lands. There is no well-prepared map. There are no blueprints. There is no, you do it this way or another way, because everything you're encountering is new. There is no father or grandmother or president or king who tells you, well, this is how you do it, because we don't know. We are facing the new. Look at our politicians now. They are trying out things. We see if it works. And in some countries it works a little better, in other countries it works a little worse. But this is something that pioneers do. They go into uncharted lands and they see what's happening there, and they look at their causes and their effects. They look what they do, what are they doing, what are the results, and is this a result we want or not, and they continue. Maybe we are the generation on this planet where in 100 years from now, if these people still exist, they will look back at us and say, you know what? They did the right things. They made the decisions to move from a consciousness of separation that we had on this planet for the last thousands of years. Maybe because we had to. Maybe because we thought we are separate. Maybe because every one of us thought we need to fight for our survival. Maybe we are the generation that moved from the consciousness of separation to the consciousness of connectedness, of interrelatedness, of collaboration. Why? Maybe because it's necessary. Maybe because we are mature enough. Maybe because we just have reached a point to discover this. Consciousness is something that grows. It's kind of the area that your mind can overlook. I mean, see what the internet does to us. Our mind expands. We're not overlooking our own country only, or the city we live in, or the district we live in. All our kids are overlooking most of the world by pressing of a few buttons. That's completely new. It's as new as a crisis like the one we are facing today. Maybe we are the generation to go the next steps. Maybe this is happening to us because we are the ones. In the Middle Ages, things took forever. Houses were built forever. Cathedrals were built over decades or hundreds of years. Today, everything is incredibly fast and connected. So I think we need to work with that connection. I think we need to work with what we are experiencing, and we need to get ready for a future that is right in front of our doors. And I don't want to scare anybody, but I personally think global warming and the symptoms of global warming, against global warming, the corona crisis is child's talk. So it's probably already very much time that we create a basis of our living together that supports all of us at a minimum, that everyone needs. So we are ready and fearless and brave enough to be the pioneers that are needed to approach our future. And the challenges at hand that are right there and that are waiting for us already tomorrow. And unlike with all the other videos, of course you can do what you always do. You can like or comment or subscribe, and we would be happy if you do that, because we would love to have a discussion in the comment section. But even more important, I think, right now, is if you like that video, go and share it. Send it to your friends, send it to people you know, send it to your politicians. Because I think we need to start the discussion. We need to start the discussion of where do we want to go from right here. Every one of us. Because I think our future will be together and not separate.